Hi guys, Nigel Farage and Reform UK keep telling us that they're not the party of the rich for the rich, that they're not a party that wants to feed poor people into a wood chipper for the entertainment of the wealthy, and that they're not a party that's choosing corrupt business owners over consumers. Now, they keep saying instead that they're a party of the working class, a party of ordinary people and on the side of working people in particular. But there are a few problems with that, as Andrea Jenkyns points out here.
I want wealth creators to come to Britain to create jobs.
Sure, but no one's stopping that. What the proposals are is...
on assets, yeah.
No, yeah. On assets. So people who are already here and have assets of £10 million or more. Yeah. Now, you say that if you put those taxes, 2%, so let's say you've got assets worth £15 million, you're only going to be taxed 2% on £5 million, okay? But you're saying that people faced with that will pick up and leave. I want to understand, how will they do that? Their assets are here. Well, are they going to sell those assets? And if they sell those assets, isn't that a good thing? Because that means that other people are allowed to buy them.
No, I just feel that the Labour government in its entirety, they just want to attack the doers who are doing the right thing. We've seen the Employment Rights Bill as well.
Oh, terrible, people having rights at work.
No, but it's got ridiculous. It's very hard to set up a business. I mean, look,
Okay, well, first of all, she dodged the question about the wealth tax and about assets because she doesn't want to talk about that, or she doesn't understand it. I'm not sure which is the case with Andrea Jenkyns. But she's saying people want to start businesses and they can't because of Labour's policies. This is a Brexiteer. A freaking Brexiteer, a conservative Brexiteer and now a reform Brexiteer. And she's talking about how businesses can't set up. If you want to export into the EU, it's more difficult now because of Brexit. And even if you don't want to export into the EU, if you're looking for workers, it's now more difficult because of Brexit. And if you have to import raw materials, it's more difficult because of Brexit. Now, has she apologised for that? No, she still thinks that Brexit was a good idea. But instead of talking about those realities, she wants to latch on to this idea that Labour is making it more difficult for businesses to start up. Now, there may be some issues with that, but the elephant in the room of Brexit, of course, is being ignored.
I met with I met with Asia House.
It's an insight into reform here. You're not seeing the workers here, you're seeing the employers, the bosses, aren't you? This is it, because you were a very right-wing party with the most right-wing Tories. Farage was a Thatcherite, Tice was your deputy leader, Richard Tice, and you were against all those people.
I don't like trade unions. I'll be honest with you, I don't like trade unions.
You don't want workers to have power.
No, I want workers to have rights, but it's got
better
ridiculous
wages.
now.
All right.
It's got ridiculous. Workers have too many rights. You know, trade unions are too powerful. The actual numbers of people who are members of trade unions is at a record low, I believe. More people should be a member of a trade union. If you are able to be a member of a trade union, join one. If you can't, maybe try and form your own trade union. Try and form an informal trade union. Because if you have a group of people behind you, you're in a stronger position to negotiate with your employer. It's not always possible, but people should join trade unions if they can. Now, Reform UK keep telling us that they're the party of the working class, but they voted against measures to improve the conditions for workers. Why did they do that? Why would a party that claims to be on the side of working class people vote against measures to improve the situation for working class people? You know, they keep talking about, well, trade unions are a problem. I would imagine they would like to see fewer trade unions or trade unions with less power. We saw when the Conservatives were in power over the last number of years, they picked fights with the trade unions, not because they wanted to improve public services and they thought that, look, we need to push through measures to improve public service. No, it was ideological. They needed somebody to blame. And we saw it when the NHS waiting list was going up. Who did the Tories blame for that? Did they blame themselves? Did they blame their lack of funding for the NHS? Did they blame the lack of hiring of doctors and nurses? Did they blame the lack of investment? No, they blamed the doctors and nurses going on strike because the strikes served a purpose for them. They could offload responsibility onto somebody else, as the Tories always do. And this is exactly what we're going to see if Reform UK get into power. If they face a stumbling block, they're going to start blaming other people. They will not take responsibility for it themselves. They're basically like the Tories. The Tories would never take responsibility for anything, and Reform UK are going to do exactly the same thing again. That's if half of them even bother to turn up. So they're not on the side of working class people. They pretend to be. Nigel Farage is very good at cosplaying. People within Reform are good at pretending to be on the side of working class people, on those who are struggling to get by, on ordinary people's behalf. But they don't give a crap about them. They're good at convincing people that they're on their side. But of course, they're on the side of the rich and the corrupt and business owners who want to take advantage of their workers. They would be a disaster for the working class. And of course, in order to convince some working class people to back them, they're latching on to issues like immigration. They know that they can weaponize these. They can create another class of people that working class people should be angry with. Never look up. Never ask, why is my employer treating me in this way? Why are the rich getting away with not paying their taxes? Why are ordinary people struggling when there's so much money in the country? Reform UK don't want you asking those questions, and if you do, they'll redirect you where? At asylum seekers, at hotels, at small boats. Because it's convenient, because it serves their purpose. They have a scapegoat. Anything goes wrong, it's their fault. That's exactly what we've been seeing with the Tories, and that's what we're going to see with Reform. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.